A westward journey to India unit is a very interesting one. It is an account of Xuanzang's journey to India from China, who wished to study Buddhism in the Nalanda University. This particular unit is an extract from Xuanzang's journey written by Belinda Harinder Dhanova. What is a memorial? A memorial is a structure built in order to remind people of a famous person or event, like Gandhi Mandapam built in the remembrance of the great leader of our country. India Gate, a war memorial built in Delhi in memory of soldiers who died nearly 70,000 between 1914 and 1921. Have you ever seen a memorial built at Nalanda, built in memory of Xuanzang, a Buddhist monk, scholar, traveler, and translator who had traveled to India in the 7th century? Though he was a Buddhist monk from China, his memorial was built in India. This unit, A Westward Journey to India, clearly shows the reason behind this. Who was Xuanzang? He was born into a family in which there had been scholars for generations, but under the influence of his elder brother, he became interested in Buddhist scriptures and soon converted into Buddhism. When he began studying Buddhist philosophy, he was soon troubled by numerous discrepancies and contradictions in the text. Not finding any solution from his masters, he decided to go to India to study at the fountainhead of Buddhism. In the year 629 CE, Xuanzang set out on a pilgrimage to India at the age of 28. People of all faiths go on pilgrimage often to a sacred place. For example, Mecca is the holiest shrine for Muslims. Bethlehem, the birthplace of Lord Jesus, is a Christian pilgrimage destination. There are many pilgrimage centers in India. To name a few, Amarnath Temple in Jammu and Kashmir for Hindus, Bodhi Tree in Bodh Gaya for Buddhists. Let me explain you about Buddhism briefly. Buddhism has its roots in India. It is an ancient religion which arose in and around Magadha now in Bihar and is based on the teachings of Gautama Buddha. He was born in a royal family. His parents wanted to make him a powerful ruler. They did all they could do to prevent him from seeing unsatisfactory things. Later, it so happened he came into contact with old, sick people, and on one occasion he saw a corpse and an ascetic. These encounters made a deep impression on his mind and led him to realize that all living beings, without exception, have to experience the sufferings of birth, sickness, aging, and death. He got enlightened under the Bodhi tree after a deep meditation. Thereafter, he spent his rest of life to preach for 45 years. He showed eightfold paths for liberation. Xuanzang wished to study in the Nalanda University located in Nalanda district in Bihar. It was famous as the ancient seat of learning. All students of Nalanda were taught the texts of the 18 sects of Buddhism. In those days in China, except foreigners and merchants, no one was allowed to leave the country. If people broke the travel ban law, they were caught and severely punished. Finally, Xuanzang began his journey along with his two companions. They used to hide by day and travel at night as there was a risk involved. Thus, by traveling at night, they managed to escape from being caught. On the way, they inquired the western route to India from the travelers and merchants. They told them that they had to cross the river Hulu lies to the north. They were also informed that they could not cross the river using a boat as the water flows at great speed. They also advised them to cross at where it was not wide. They were also told that there were 5 watchtowers beyond the river, and the gods in them had bows and arrows. In between the towers, there was a land with no water, and beyond them lay the great desert. On hearing this, Xuanzang's companions thought that the route to India was a difficult one, and if they were caught, God might shoot them. So they decided to return. Nothing could stop Xuanzang's determination. He decided to continue his journey alone. On the way, he met a kind old man. The old man exchanged his horse with Xuanzang, as his horse knew the way well. After traveling for some time, he reached the river Hulu, where it was flowing at high speed. Xuanzang found a place where it was only 10 feet wide. He made a bridge using long strips of wood from the trees nearby and let his horse cross it. He reached the first tower and decided to wait for nightfall to escape from being seen by gods. He felt hot and thirsty. His water bag was empty. There was a water hole nearby the watchtower, so he ran towards it by crouching low. He drank some water and filled his empty water bag. Unfortunately, he was spotted by the guards. An arrow whizzed past him, followed by a few more. Xuanzang pleaded, saying that he was a monk and not to shoot arrows at him. On hearing this, the soldiers surrounded him and took him to the commander. The commander had heard about this scholar. As the journey would be going to be hard, he pleaded with Xuanzang to return, but he refused to do so. The commander then gave Xuanzang some more food, water, a letter to hand over to his cousin, who was the commander in the next tower, to make his journey easier. The commander in the next tower treated him respectfully and warned him about the cruel guards at the 5th tower and guided him to take the different route, that is towards the spring of wild horses. Xuanzang reached a desert called the River of Sand. As there were no landmarks, he lost his way, so he could not find the spring. The journey had become hard. On top of it, his water bag got empty. But Xuanzang was not ready to give up. He continued his journey, though it was hard. He traveled for the following 4 nights and 5 days without water. This incident clearly shows that Xuanzang's strong determination towards his task. He took such a great risk to reach India. Though he did not have water, he undertook the toughest journey to reach his goal. On the sixth day, his horse took a wrong turn. There, Xuanzang discovered a green grass patch in the middle of the desert. He could easily guess that was the spring the commander referred to. That was the only landmark for Xuanzang to go on right direction to reach India. From the spring of wild horses, Xuanzang reached a large and rich kingdom. As the proverb says, a king is respected in his own country, but a scholar is worshipped everywhere. Xuanzang was received with great respect by Turpan king. He provided everything to Xuanzang to continue his journey, like gold and silver coins for expenses, 30 horses, 24 men, and letters to present at the countries he would pass by. He crossed many kingdoms on his way without any difficulty. The weather was terribly cold with snow all around, which was not melting. Xuanzang was not left with any choice. He had to continue his journey with few men who had survived. Men who could not withstand cold were frozen to death. Xuanzang continued his journey with few men who had survived and finally reached Kabul. From Kabul, they reached India through Kashmir. Only in Nalanda, every Buddha's idea had come clear to Xuanzang, and he decided to bring all Buddha's teachings and scriptures to China for translation. He was revered by Indian kings. He had stayed in India for 13 years. When he returned to China in 645 CE, he was warmly welcomed by Buddhists and Emperor of Tang dynasty. Though he was offered ministerial position, he refused, as he wanted to complete his religious work. He started translating Sanskrit texts that he had brought from India and successfully completed the translation of more than 600 Buddhist texts. His translations are still read and studied today, and Xuanzang is remembered as one of the most important figures in Chinese religious history. All through his journey, he kept a journal of his exceptional travel. observations, and experiences that later known as Great Tang records on the western regions. At present, this is a single written record of conditions of India and other Western countries at that time. His travel to India is still helping historians to find out many answers about Indian civilization then. Now let us see what are the qualities that are needed to achieve success in life. To achieve success in life, one has to be determined, wise, hardworking, tolerant. Thank you all for watching the video.